Now we are going to start the anatomy of nervous system. Anatomy of nervous system. So, nervous system is a regulatory system. It regulates body activity both voluntarily as well as involuntarily. It consists of CNS and PNS, and CNS consists of brain and spinal cord, PNS consists of cranial nerves and spinal nerves. So we divide the nervous system anatomically and functionally. Let's see division of nervous system. NS means nervous system. We divide anatomically as central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Central nervous system consists of brain and spinal cord, SC spinal cord, and peripheral nervous system consists of 12 pairs of cranial nerves and 31 pairs of spinal nerves. Second, we divide nervous system according to its function. Functional division. Functionally, only PNS is divided into afferent and efferent. Functionally, afferent function and efferent function. Afferent, it provides sensory information to central nervous system from peripheral organs. It provides sensory information to central nervous system. And efferent, it carries motor information from central nervous system to the muscles, glands, blood vessels, heart, etc. It carries motor information to peripheral organs. Efferent can be classified into efferent fibers can be classified into somatic and autonomic. Somatic and autonomic nervous system. Somatic and autonomic. The somatic, it controls the skeletal muscle. And autonomic controls the visceral organs, smooth muscles, glands, and blood vessels. Autonomic nervous system controls visceral organs, smooth muscle, glands, and blood vessels. Autonomic is further divided into sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, sympathetic and parasympathetic branches. So sympathetic is an emergency condition and parasympathetic in the non-emergency condition. So I can draw this in a flow chart. Nervous system is divided into two parts. Central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. Central nervous system has two components, brain and the spinal cord, and the peripheral nervous system has also two components, somatic and autonomic. Somatic consists of cranial nerves and spinal nerves, 12 cranial nerves and 31 pairs of spinal nerves. An autonomic nervous system consists of two parts, sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. So now let's talk about the cellular architecture of the nervous system. What is the basic unit of nervous system? The basic unit of nervous system is neuron. The anatomical unit is neuron. And what is the functional unit of nervous system? Functional unit of nervous system is a reflex arc. So now this cellular architecture. So nervous system is made up of two types of cell. Nervous tissue is made up of two types of cells. First is the nerve cell or neuron, and second is the neuroglia cell. Neuro means nerve and glia means glue. So the cells which are attached to the nerve cell is known as neuroglia cell. So let's talk about neuron or nerve cell. It has two parts. The cell body or also known as soma, and the cell processes. So cell processes, there are two types of process we can see in the nerve cell. The first is the dendrites and the second is the axon. Axons and dendrites. So dendrites are multiple in the small in size. They are multiple in number and is small, and axons are single in number and longer in size length. Okay, now a group of axon forms the white matter. Axon forms the white matter and white matter in the central nervous system known as tracts, and in the peripheral nervous system it is known as nerve. So this axon in central nervous system, it is known as group, yes, collectively known as tracts, and in PNS it is known as nerve. So collectively it forms white matter because it looks white due to presence of myelin sheath. And the cell body collectively forms gray matter, and in the CNS it is known as nuclei, and in PNS it is known as ganglion. Now, what is the function of a neuron? Function of neuron: sensation and conduction. Sensation and conduction is the function of nerve cell. The impulses, conduction of impulse, yes, so impulses flows toward the cell body in the dendrites and away from the cell body in axon. So suppose I make a diagram of a neuron. So this part is known as cell body or soma, and this is the axon. It is a single in number, and this small fiber like structure is known as dendrites. Now the direction of impulse is toward the cell body in dendrites and away from cell body in axon. So it is a direction of impulse towards the cell body in dendrites and away from the cell body in axon. Towards the cell body in dendrites and away from cell body in axon. Now classification of neurons. So neurons can be classified in various ways, like according to their number of their processes, according to their length of axon, according to their function, according to their shape, and according to their size. Now the classification of neurons. First is according to the number of their processes. According to the number of their processes. So in the four types: multipolar, bipolar, pseudo-unipolar, and the fourth is the unipolar. Multipolar has various dendrites and a single axon. Single axon. They are the most in number. Most common in adults. Example: all motor and internuncial neuron and internuncial neurons. Internuncial means interneuron, which connects two neurons, is known as internuncial neuron. Bipolar, it has one dendrite and a single or one axon. Okay. Example: is the first neuron of retina, olfactory mucosa and ganglia of eighth nerve. Olfactory mucosa and ganglia of eighth nerve. Now the next type is pseudo-unipolar. Pseudo-unipolar means it only has a single axon, but the axon is bifurcated, so it looks like bipolar. So single but bifurcated axon, no dendrites. और ये आपको कहाँ मिलेगा? Pseudo-unipolar is present in the dorsal nerve root ganglia and sensory ganglia of cranial nerves. These are found in dorsal root ganglia and sensory ganglia of cranial nerves. याद रखेंगे कि सभी के सभी मोटर नर्व्स जो होते हैं वो मल्टीपोलर न्यूरॉन्स होते हैं और सेंसरी के गैंग्लिया में जो न्यूरॉन्स होते हैं वो सूडो यूनिपोलर होते हैं. नाउ द फोर्थ इज द यूनिपोलर. यूनिपोलर मीन्स ओनली एक्सोन इज प्रेजेंट, ओनली single axon is present and these are found in the fetal life, and the mesencephalic nucleus of trigeminal nerve. Mesencephalic nucleus of trigeminal, the fifth cranial nerve, trigeminal nerve. So this is the classification according to the number of processes. The second classification is on the basis of length of axon. According to length of axon, So classified into two types, Golgi type 1 and Golgi type 2. So Golgi type 1, in this long axon is present, and these are seen in the pyramidal cells of cerebral cortex. Pyramidal cells of cerebral cortex, Purkinje cells of cerebellum, and the anterior horn cells of spinal cord. Anterior horn cells of spinal cord. So this is the Golgi type 1. Second one is the Golgi type 2. Golgi type 2, in which the length of axon is short. So they have short axons. They are present in cerebral and cerebellar cortex. Cerebral and cerebellar cortex. Now the third classification is according to their function. Functional classification: sensory, motor and autonomic. It is divided into sensory, motor and autonomic neurons. Sensory, it means it conducts sensory impulse from the effector organ to the central nervous system. So it is further classified into three types: primary, secondary and tertiary. Primary is also known as first order neuron. Secondary is known as second order neuron, and tertiary is known as third order neuron. So what is difference between them? So primary or first order neuron, these are present in the dorsal root ganglia of the spinal nerves. These are present in dorsal root ganglia. The second order neuron is present in the gray matter of spinal cord and in brainstem. This is present in gray matter. Gray matter is except in spinal cord. So these are present in gray matter of spinal cord and brainstem. And the tertiary or third order neuron is present in the topmost, that is thalamus. The second category is second function is the motor. So they carries motor information from the central nervous system to the effector organs. So these are classified into two types: upper motor neuron and lower motor neuron. Upper motor neuron, these are situated in the motor area of the brain. Situated in motor area of brain. It is present in the parietal lobe of cerebral hemisphere. And the second is the lower motor neuron. Lower motor neuron is located in the cranial nerve nuclei and anterior horn of spinal cord. These are situated in anterior horn of spinal cord and cranial nerve nuclei. Third classification is autonomic. Autonomic is further divided into parasympathetic and sympathetic. Parasympathetic consists of two types of ganglia, that is the preganglionic neurons and postganglionic neurons. So two types of neurons, preganglionic and the postganglionic. So preganglionic neurons are located in the cranial nerve number 3rd, 7th, 9th, 10th. Cranial nerve number 3rd, 7th, 9th and 10th, as well as sacral 2nd and 3rd and 4th, S3, S2, S3 and S4 segments of spinal cord. And the postganglionic neurons are located in visceral organs, viscera. Therefore, this also known as craniosacral outflow. Parasympathetic fibers are known as craniosacral outflow. Second is sympathetic. Sympathetic is known as thoracolumbar outflow. Thoracolumbar outflow. So this also have two types of fiber, preganglionic and postganglionic. Preganglionic, these are located in lateral horn, of thoracic 1 to lumbar 2 segments of spinal cord, and the postganglionic are located in the ganglia of sympathetic tract, are present in ganglia of sympathetic tract. So this is the classification according to the function. Next is the according to their shape. So it may be stellate, or in the shape of basket, or fusiform and pyramidal, and on the basis of size it may be macro or micro. Macroneuron or maybe microneuron. Macroneuron, if its size is more than 7 micrometer, then we say it is a macroneuron. If the size of neuron is less than 7 micrometer, then it is known as microneuron. So this is all about the neurons, and we know that nervous tissue is not only formed by the neurons but also it consists of neuroglial cells. So the next is the neuroglial cells. Neuroglial cells, the adjacent cells to the nerve cell, are the neuroglial cells. So there are total 5 types of neuroglial cells. Let's see one by one. The first is the astrocyte. Astrocyte, in the name you can see it is they are star shaped cells, and they are trophic in function, means they provide nutrition. Trophic in function, nutrition to the nerve cells, and they also forms blood brain barrier. BBB is formed by astrocytes. There are of 2 types. Protoplasmic are large in number, and the fibrous. Protoplasmic are large in size as compared to the fibrous, and they are absent in posterior pituitary and the pineal gland. They are absent in the posterior pituitary, and their main function is to form the blood-brain barrier. It is important. Second type of cell, neuroglial cell, is oligodendrocytes. When we broke its name, oligo means less, dendro means dendrites, and cytes means cell. So cells which contains less or fewer dendrites. So they are function. What is their function? Their function is to myelination of tracts. And what is the tracts? Tracts are groups of axons present in CNS. They are known as tracts. Yes, axons in CNS. They are the counterpart of Schwann cell. So the third cell is the Schwann cell. What is the function? Function is same, the myelination of nerve fiber, that is axons in peripheral nervous system. You should know that for myelination of nerve tracts or nerve fibers, most important vitamin is vitamin B12, and the most important micro element is zinc. So now the next cell is the ependymal cell. These are the columnar cells which lines the cavities of central nervous system, like ventricles. Function: secretion of cerebrospinal fluid. Now the next cell is the microglia. Microglia are the phagocytic cells. Their function is immunological or phagocytosis. Their function, these are, and the important thing you should know about this cell is this cell develops from mesoderm. All cells of nervous system arises from neural crest or ectodermal in origin, except neuroglia. Neuroglia originate from the mesoderm. It is a type of macrophage. So this is the general information about the nervous system. In next class we will talk about some reflexes, common reflexes and reflex arc. Thank you.